Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
And tonight we'll be reviewing the Super Mario Brothers that was released in 1990.
1993.
Yeah, around the 90s, obviously.
1993.
Yeah, and of course, I know what you guys are thinking. You're going to think,
Oh, no, not Mario Brothers. No, well, it fits into our criteria. We do fantasy movies. Come on.
And bear in mind, guys, it's not a very bad movie.
It's not a great movie. It's not a bad movie.
But Mike here found the reason why it was considered
bad. Okay. I was going to say when I was talking about the reviewers' comments, I think what's happened is, all right, they had the idea and given the permission from by Nintendo to make the movie. They decided to throw money at this production.
Yes.
They had several attempts at writing a screenplay for it.
Okay.
And I think the problem is they were initially looking at a children's audience, but maybe, because kiddies about 8, 9, 10 years old would be playing Mario Brothers on their Nintendo machines.
Just like my nephew.
Not the 30 or 40-year-olds who go to work and pay for the Nintendo machines. No. Now, what I was saying is that I think they spent more time trying to work on their special effects, set designs, and I think they lost track of where it should have been going. It should have been aimed at kids, and they spent a shitload of money on special effects and everything else to try and make it work. And so it was a good movie, but they certainly overcapitalised on it, and I think they lost their way with the storyline because, to me, even though I liked the movie, it didn't clearly define, so saying, hey, this is a kiddies movie or an adult movie. Like, they take Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is an adult movie.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, that is clearly made as an adult movie. This one here is trying to capitalise on kiddies and adults, I think. And I think that's where it lost it. They could have made it a bit darker, taken a little bit of the comedy away. It might have been a better movie. Or make it a straightforward kids movie, a bit less special effects, because kids don't really need special effects that much. And make it a bit like the same way as those inane things like SpongeBob SquarePants and stuff, which kids like watching. And that might have made a lot more money out of it. I don't know. That's the gut feeling I get anyway.
Yeah, we watched it last night, and some of my friends keep saying, "Oh, you poor dear, why why are you suffering for this?" I beg to differ, guys.
It's not a bad movie,
it.
but it could have been better.
I mean, from a kid's perspective, I watched this as a kid, and I didn't question at the time its bad reviews or whether it was a bad movie all in all, but I enjoyed it because of the funny antics, the what Mario and Luigi get up to, and how they fought the bad guys.
Exactly right. Now, actually, I will go into a little bit of my pre-storytelling stuff here. But there's not a lot to say about these sort of movies. It's just a good, fun, fancy movie.
And unlike some people who take every single video game and tear it apart when they do a movie about it, I don't play Super Mario Brothers very much, and I don't believe every single story they print on there.
Anyway.
So I don't believe everything I read or I watch. Anyway. Yeah.
Now this is actually marketed, well, written down here in my notes here, as it is the first feature-length live-action film to be based on a video game.
Really?
Now, that says, well, they didn't have any benchmarks, paradigms, nothing. They had to make it up as it went along. So, being one of the first, or the first, well, where do you draw the line? How do you approach it? There are ideas on trying to make the standalone movie based on the computer games, or do we go and try to make it more like the computer game?
Of course, this, I think one of the actors, that would have been the guy who played Mario, Bob Hoskins. Yeah, this movie kind of considered to be his downfall, according to
I don't know his downfall, but it wasn't. I mean, he'd played in Who Framed Roger Rabbit before this, and Hook. He might have been in some other movies after. I don't think he's down. It wasn't one of his best achievements, and it wasn't about his acting. It was just about
it's
the
just
movie.
that other people have rosed up, and I think that Dan DeVito and John Candy and all the other guys,
John Candy?
they did far better than Bob for gosh knows reasons.
Oh, yeah.
He may have risen up again. I don't know.
Bob Hoskins is a good actor.
But he's a good actor, and I think he's hilarious to watch.
I think Bob Hoskins is a fine actor. Actually, guess who was candidates before Bob Hoskins?
Okay, I bite what? Who?
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh no, he's a good actor. He may well have. Then Danny DeVito, as we mentioned, Danny was going to play Mario, and I can see Danny DeVito playing Mario.
I see a little bit. Not a lot.
But here we are. Now the antagonist guy. I think of using Arnold Schwarzenegger or Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Interesting. Now,
not Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, I can't see it.
Michael Keaton maybe. He did the Beetlejuice sort of stuff, so he could have been interesting. He does interesting character stuff. And Tom Hanks was considered for the role of Luigi.
Tom Hanks, huh?
Tom Hanks, but wait a minute. But Tom Hanks had a string of box office failures before then. They didn't want to put him in there just in case.
Oh man, that's a good one.
So go figure that one.
I read somewhere that the guy who plays.
We're jumping the gun here.
I heard that the guy who plays Luigi.
Hey, my uncle's called Luigi.
I think this movie kind of helped him improve on his acting.
No, that was one of his first roles. He was an up and coming actor at the time.
Yeah, and I think he did pretty well for himself after that.
He did. No, he's been in lots of different things. I won't go through a list of what he's done, but he's been in quite a few things over the years. Now, here we go. Okay, here we go. My usual tirade of information.
Okay.
Produced by Jake Eberts and Roland Joffe.
Right.
I don't think it didn't lose too much money because it became a cult movie later on, so they might have got the money back on it. Directed by Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel. They're a husband and wife team.
Wow, that's nice.
Wonder how many arguments they had over the breakfast cereal, hey?
I don't know. I think that some people can make a good team.
Yeah, husband and wives, though, you see. It's not, you see each other 24/7 and you go,
I don't know.
But no, it obviously works because it is a good production.
I know plenty of people who work close on productions.
That's not the same as being married.
They do work well together.
I'm a married person, I know. I like to social distance myself from my wife sometimes. No.
Don't be rude.
No. Anyway, written by Parker Bennett and Terry Runty, I think it is, and Ed Solomon, based on, obviously, Mario by Nintendo. I won't go too much into this. Now, the budget, $48 million. That's what I'm saying. They probably spent a bit more than they envisaged on the special effects and post-production and stuff and pre-production and instead of concentrating on a better storyline. Now, I'm not knocking it. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not being a troll. I'm just making an observation.
Yeah.
Box office only $40 million. However, it has become a cult classic, and it's probably since made a lot more money on the home media market, selling VHS back in those days, and DVDs and Blu-ray sets.
Technically, when we were in 1990, we didn't play the top-of-the-line games back then until years later.
Back in those, I still had a Commodore 64 playing Commodore 64 games, and I noticed some of the later Commodore 64 games were actually Sega games.
Yeah. See, back then we didn't play the Sega or Nintendo stuff.
We couldn't afford one.
We couldn't afford it, so we often got the down a little 64. Bit of a price range type games.
No, I had a Commodore 64, so I bought second hand for a bucket load of games. We didn't need to buy Nintendo.
Yeah, but we still enjoyed them.
Oh, we had a ball, yeah.
And we did had computerized games, like we got Ghostbusters and other games to keep our heads entertained. Yes.
Yeah, okay. We talk about the stuff later.
I know.
Now, Bob Hoskins plays the main lead. He plays Mario. And guess what his last name is? Mario. So it's Mario. They named him twice because I like the name so much. Yeah. Now, John, okay, here we John Leguizamo. I hope it's the right pronunciation, John. I'm sorry if it's not. He plays Luigi Mario. Actually, speaking about Mario Brothers, I got a little 4-year-old boy who spends all his time sitting at the laptop I bought him a couple of months ago, playing or watching walkthroughs of the Mario Brothers, and he likes Luigi. He calls him Luigi, doesn't say Luigi probably.
Yeah,
he is so cute. He's a little 4-year-old.
And I keep knocking Mike for buying him a computer. I
want him to get used to computers, but it needs to be controlled by Mother Dearest, so they don't spend too much computer time. So when he gets to school, he actually might be a bit smarter from having to read computer screens.
I want him to at least
go outside and play.
Go outside and play instead of just play
I'm
on
doing
the
the
computer.
cast.
I know I'm a bad role model when it comes to computers.
Yeah, she lives in a room in front of a computer. She should talk.
But I still go out, out and about here and there.
Yeah, she escapes a half an hour a day.
Just to get away from the computer, and even though I can't really go out and play like some kids.
But you do go for a walk. We go for a walk down a local park down to the water, and we go to the shops together. Yeah. We take Mum with us sometimes, don't we?
Yeah. So
anyway,
who stars
I'm
in
still
this?
talking about the actors. Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, one of my favourite. Not one of my favourite. One of those good mainstay actors who keeps popping up every so often.
He plays King Koopa.
Plays King Koopa. Well, I was going to say, first time I saw Dennis was in Easy Rider with Peter Fonda. Top movie if you haven't seen it. You young guys, if you haven't seen it, it's a good biker movie.
Yeah. I also seen him in
a road trip.
Land of the Dead, and that's when he plays another dictator in that one.
Yes, and I've seen him in one of the Children of the Corn movies, I think, or something as well. He played... No, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He was in one of those ones.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, he played in number 3rd or 4th of what movie, whatever.
Whatever the movie.
I think.
Okay.
Now, I'll go this one last one. Samantha Mathis plays Princess Daisy.
Yeah.
What a great name. And she's a good-looking lady too. And Luigi falls in love with her.
Yeah, unlike the game where everyone doesn't really fall in love with each other. They're just natural teammates or friends or something like that.
Luigi, while Luigi in the game there, he has to save the princess. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ha.
Anyway,
do you want to get into doing the tell? It starts 65 million years ago. Now that is going backwards a bit, isn't it? But we've done retro stuff.
Yeah, it talks about. Will you shut up?
Sorry.
Anyway, it talks about dinosaurs roaming the earth, yada yada yada, and then the meteorite comes, and somehow all the dinosaurs and whatever species end up going into another universe or special or
parallel dimension,
parallel universe, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, the meteorite is sort of a key to allow them, direct passage to the different worlds. Well, a chunk of it does, anyway.
Look, bottom line is, the existing world 65 million years ago, this meteor made things happen and split the dinosaur world in 2 parts. The one that went to alternate dimension started to evolve like us, become humanoid type creatures, and the other ones here died out, and the cavemen took over, and that's where we came from.
Yes. So anyway, a few years later, we see a woman taking her a baby or an egg to a nunnery.
We don't know it's an egg at the time. Yeah.
So she leaves it there, and along with the chunk of meteorite I mentioned, and she heads back down underground, and she gets it. She ends up in a bit of a cave by being crushed to death by some rocks.
Yes. Princess Daisy's mummy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the nuns inspect the egg and then say, and then they find it cracking open, and it reveals a baby.
And a pretty little girl came out.
Then, 20 years later, after this, we see Luigi and Mario getting ready for work. They're plumbers, if you haven't worked it out. What there?
They're plumbers. Just get on with it. Don't look at me. I know they're plumbers.
Yeah, and then
Mario's a plumber.
Yeah, of course they get into car trouble, yada yada.
Yeah.
And anyway, Luigi's not as keen about being a plumber. He's a plumber's apprentice, if you will.
He's apprentice to Mario. I don't know how, but Luigi was was an orphan, and Mario took him in to look after him.
Yeah.
And as a
he's
father-mother image, he decided, well, I'm a plumber. Luigi's going to be a plumber too.
According to the stories, his mum and dad died, and so Mario takes over as head of the household. So he's been sort of a role model for Luigi ever since.
Right. Anyway, not very rich, because there's another local company that they're blaming for their problems. A company run by a Scapelli construction company, and some subsidiaries seem to be gobbling up all the work and stuff.
Yeah, somehow, in a sort of a dig site, Daisy, now 20 years older, I guess.
Well, she's over 20 years. She's been to university. She's working for the university.
Okay.
Crikey,
And she's at a dig site, and Sapelli, whatever his name is telling them to get lost. And he even gives her the eye, which I think is...
No. Anthony Scapelli is trying to build... What, a building
building
there?
there.
Building or doing something.
He's telling them to F off.
Sure. And inadvertently, when they're digging under the ground, and they'd used some dynamite, and they showed the remains of a dinosaur skeleton and that sort of stuff, and they called in the university. Now, Scapelli doesn't care about history, dinosaurs, anything else. He wants to build his building.
Yeah.
So he wants to sabotage their site.
Yeah, so we then meet... Daisy meets Luigi and his brother Mario, and they offer to help as much as they could. And Luigi asks her on a date, even though he's tongue-tied about it.
He's shy.
Yes. So they go on a date. Meanwhile, while this is happening, these two weird stooge guys who are trying to find Princess Daisy, but somehow keep getting the wrong woman here and there, because...
Well, these are the guys from the dinosaur world who've come through this portal.
Yeah, and all women look alike.
Yeah, all these funny creatures look alike here. They kept getting the wrong woman. Oh, he got 2 legs, 2 arms, a head, No.
What about the looks?
I don't know what she looks like.
Yeah, well, anyway, they tried several times, and they end up getting the wrong one.
And the last one they got before Daisy was Mario's girlfriend, whatever her name is.
Yes, it's something about her wearing a wig or something.
Well, I thought she changed, and she's got a costume on to try to hide, so I grabbed her and realised...
Oops.
Arthur took her down to their dimension. Oops. It was the wrong woman again. So, yeah, really, these guys are really...
Brain dead.
Brain dead, yeah.
Anyway...
Iggy and Spike, with names like that, what can you expect?
So, anyway, Luigi and Daisy, they head down to the site so she could show him about the dinosaur fossils that she found, where they show that the dinosaurs look almost like they were evolving into humans.
Morphing, from dinosaurs into human, are getting some characteristics. So, a missing link in the dinosaur world.
Then,
yes.
Scapelli's
guys come running out of a part of the tunnel where there's some water pipes there, and they'd actually loosen some bolts on some pipes there to flood the tunnel system.
Yeah, and quickly Luigi goes to Mario and tells him, guess what, we have a flooding situation, we want you to come down here and fix
Mario,
it up.
being a plumber, put his little plumber belt on and headed off down to help out.
Yeah, while they're fixing it, Spike and his... whatever his name is, they abduct Iggy.
Like an Iggy Pop.
Yeah, they abduct Daisy, and they knock out Mario and Luigi, and then we have the chase begins. They head into an alternate reality inside the a special rock.
Well, they go through a rock wall, which is like a portal. How's that? And
then Luigi and Mario head inside, and it was just like something out of the Stargate or something. Oh, I don't really like it.
Stargate?
Remember, it went through a creepy thing, weird thing.
A little like Bill and Ted's Incredible Adventures to me, but anyway, they got in.
So they get in.
And it reminded me a little bit of Demolition Man and stuff, and those sorts of movies where there were people living underground and stuff, and maybe Total Recall up Mars.
It does make me think of that, even though this is an alternate
dimension
and all that stuff. Even though
Blade Runner.
For a long time I thought this was an underworld world to the world.
Yeah, a bit of Blade Runner feel to it too, the streetscapes and whatever, a little bit some of it.
No.
Okay, Demolition Man and Total Recall.
Anyway, so moving on. So our heroes arrive there, and it's called Dino Hatton.
Like in Manhattan. They call it, say Manhattan, Dino Hatton.
Yeah, and there's some similarities, even though I never seen the 90s.
Well, no, Manhattan is a city area, Manhattan Island.
I know,
yeah.
but I didn't.
But Dino Hatton, it's a spin-off. Dino Hatton, Manhattan.
I figured that, Mike. I just meant
What have you seen?
Because I've been to the what 90s may have looked like in Manhattan back then. I wasn't born yet. I was born yet. It was just
look at the movie.
I don't really care or even notice
it's just
what
ordinary
it was
city.
like
But the dinosaur guys got it wrong when they got glimpses of our dimension. They didn't develop properly. They got really weird ways about developing and stuff.
Yeah.
And
so anyway, Daisy is taken off into a taxi, which is funny when you think about it. And Luigi and Mario, they lose the part of the meteorite. There is a meteorite-type crystal that Daisy has carried around with her all the time.
Ever since she was an egg.
Yeah. And she's kept it with her, but she dropped it.
No, Luigi grabbed the necklace, didn't he?
Yeah.
When she was going for the portal or something, he grabbed it and she
Yeah.
lost it. And Luigi had it, then he lost it.
Koopa, or whatever his name is.
King Koopa.
He wants both Daisy and this little meteorite thing, so he can merge the
two dimensions.
So he can
the
make
idea is
this
Princess
one.
Daisy being the princess,
Yes.
and having the piece of meteor together, they can close off this rift between the two dimensions, and Koopa wants to rule the world, our world as well as his own world.
Yeah.
He's already taken over his world.
Yeah, and the place is a mess.
Yeah, slime all over the place.
Because considering that the Dino Manhattan is...
No, Dino Hatton.
Dino Hatton is consists of that little city, and the rest is wasteland.
Yeah,
like
desert.
looking at Judge Dredd's area, if you will. The rest of it is barren wasteland, if you will, right?
Yes.
No,
well, that's why I was mentioning a bit like Total Recall, because he had the city and outside just all dust and nothing, and no one could live out there. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Yes. So, they lose the meteorite piece to a prostitute named.
I don't know if she's a prostitute, but she's a big Afro-American lady. Don't know what she is, whether she's just a thug or a prostitute, or just a really nice lady who
anyway,
in a bad
she's
area.
a bit of a thug, and I do like the costuming in this. Eventually, the police arrive. They dose them down with the stuff.
They defungus them or something or other.
That's the word. Anyway, along with a music player named what's his name? Who cares?
Who cares? He's not important.
Yeah. So they go to jail, and Mr. King Koopa, whatever his name is, demands this diamond thingy wing, and says, and of course they said no, we don't have it, yada yada, and they said they're gonna be forced to be de-evolved.
Yeah, they had an evolution machine. You can go forward or backwards, so you can take a dinosaur and make him into a human, or get a human and make him into a dinosaur, or in our case, a monkey. Because we're supposed to come from monkeys.
Yes, so their inhabitants, they get turned back into weird-shaped creatures.
Yeah, well, actually, the Goombas, I don't know what they went back to half lizard, half man or something or other,
Yeah, I think the Goombas were in the game.
I think they were, yeah.
They look more like turtle-type creatures,
I think they were, yeah.
I can't really be sure.
But they made it big and chunky. Yeah, the Goomba it was supposed to be in the background, but they actually thought they were so good they brought them into the main part of the movie and gave them a bit of action stuff as well.
Yeah. Anyway, they eventually escape, and they then take one of the police cars, and they do a bit of fun action stuff in the next scene, which is kind of cool. And meanwhile, this is happening. A good
chase scene, like Steve McQueen would have been proud.
While this is happening, Daisy's with the other girls, and King, what's his face?
King Koopa.
Yeah.
Think of Alice Cooper.
Okay.
Okay.
King Koopa's assistant or lover or whatever, calls upon her, and she was escorted out of the cell, and she dresses into a nice, awesome dress.
Very nice.
And she meets Yoshi, the little baby dinosaur.
He's so cute. I want one.
That's another creature that was pretty much in the game, obviously. Not that I've ever paid attention.
Possibly. There's a lot of different things of Mario. Actually, that cost about $500,000 just a dead little creature. That's why I think they spent too much time spending bucks on things which weren't totally necessary.
Yeah. In fact, King Koopa tried to put the moves on dear old Daisy, even though she was not having it. And who could blame her?
It's babe. Ha! Well, she was.
Of course, he wants both her and the meteorite, and unfortunately, the meteorite is in the possession of someone else.
Yeah, but this big Afro-American lady.
Anyway, meanwhile, Luigi and Mario, they make their escape into the wasteland I mentioned. And, of course, the weird fungus, there's a fungus throughout the city that supposedly is the remains of the
Princess Daisy's father, who was the king, who's been de-evolved down to a slime.
Or fungus.
Yeah. There's a great fungus, yeah.
Anyway,
he's
the
all
King
over the place.
Koopa made his Spike and his and what's his name?
Iggy Pop.
Iggy, and gave him an IQ of.
No, they evolved them up to a next level to give them brains. They were a bit dumb before, now they're really smart.
Yeah, well, not so smart. When they drive around that thing, it ends up crashing and they end up in.
But they didn't know how to drive. But the funny part is, because he gave better intelligence, they realised that King Koopa, their cousin, was wrong, and they sided with Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, so they have a bit of a compromise. They will give them the meteorite, and they'll help them get Daisy out and all stuff. And so they arranged it, and they've gone inside a bit of a nightclub of sorts, and there they meet the...
Like Saturday Night Fever for Mario and Luigi. Look pretty good.
Mario tries to be the gentleman in this scene, where he tries to gain the rock by dancing with the nice lady.
The big lady,
and
who happened to be wearing the rock around her neck.
Yeah, they could do a bit of a dance, and eventually he does get
He grabs it when he goes for a dip or something, puts a hand around her neck, and pulls it, and he doesn't realise for a couple of seconds, and he's gone.
Yeah. Eventually, there's a bit of a chase ensues. Eventually, the rock kind of gets misplaced and lost, and the assistant ends up getting it, obviously. And then Mario and Luigi, they make a daring escape using special shoes.
They're special
rocket shoes,
jumping shoes. Well, yeah, they're energized. I mean, you can jump really high with. Oh, yeah, great for basketball.
Yeah.
And but higher, they can jump and go so many meters in the air and fly with them and stuff.
Yeah.
Really good. I want
Throughout
this
movie, the fungus or the ex-king has been helping Luigi and Mario as they go along. Yeah, they offer them small teeny bombs.
Little
the
bombs.
size.
Yeah, little bombs. And they look like about 3 or 4 centimeters across, something like that.
Makes me think of those weird walking toys
where
you wind up and
it
they
sets off and it goes boom. But he actually gets one there and it finally blows up the naughty guy. Or heads that direction anyway,
yeah. Anyway, they soon head inside the secret headquarters of King Koop, and they went to the basement where all the plumbing is, and where Luigi uses his expertise of freezing the piping.
Yeah, they turn the hot water down, so it all had central heating and stuff, so everything started to cool down. And the dinosaurs didn't like that. No, another ice age, folks.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, while this is happening, Daisy finally escapes, and the assistant tries to kill her because now she's got the meteorite. She holds the power and stuff, and she feels threatened that King Koop is wanting to get close to Daisy in the creepy sense.
Yeah.
And so, luckily enough, Daisy gets away thanks to her new dinosaur friends, and she eventually meets up with Spike and Iggy, whatever his name is, Iggy, and they show her where her father is, the fungus. Yeah. He's in a throne type thing, and he's...
Yeah, you got a throne there, and there's gooey fungus hanging around there.
Yeah,
and, this is your dad.
So they leave her alone with him for a bit.
Very touching moment. A golden fungus. I'm
there
father.
she finds a communication device where she gets to talk to Luigi and Mario through the speakers in the area and tell them where she's at.
She's at there. There you go. Right.
Yeah, so
and they come and say, yada yada.
So they head up there. She introduces her to her dad, and she tells Mario that your girlfriend has been taken here, in a separate cell. So he goes rescues his girlfriend and the remaining girls, seeing as that's where all the other girls were kidnapped.
Yep. Well, there were half dozen, so 5.
Yeah. Of course, he had to kill. Well, not kill her. I mean, he had to knock out a few of those dinosaur creatures, Goombas. And while they're making sure, they use in one scene they use a mattress and use it as a bit of a bobsled down a pipe.
It has a big pipe which might have been 4 feet across or something, or 5 feet across. And they threw it in there, a bit like a water slide. You got to go a big tube.
As I said, like a bobsled. Almost.
And they go down through there. But it's not the pipe. It's like a pipe, like a water park. And go in there, and they got this mattress. They're sliding down there, having a wonderful time. Make a good ride on a theme park or something.
Yeah. Anyway, King Koopa eventually hears that his assistant and ex-love interest has the rock, and he sends his policeman to go fetch it and all that stuff.
Come on, boy. That's all.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually, King Koopa finally finds Luigi and Daisy, and they're about to make their final plans of sending all the Goombas to the Earth eventually. Man, I feel sorry for the Earth.
Look.
What? I do. I feel sorry for them.
Tell the story.
Anyway, then luckily enough, the assistant does get the meteorite back, and Mario tries to trick the Overlord that he has it by
he had the string in his hand that came with, but didn't know that the meteor wasn't in his hand. They kept teasing him, saying, follow me, and that sort of stuff. Teasing, goading him onwards.
While Luigi and Daisy they try to head the ex-assistant down the meteorite path.
Yeah, they went out. They're throwing down the meteor. They're getting ready to put the part back in the meteor.
Yeah. So as she's putting it in, and then she gets zapped by the energy inside the meteorite that kills her eventually.
Yes, but at that same time, she opens the portal.
Yeah,
and lo and behold.
And then Mario and the King, they head onto New York.
They appear in Brooklyn, where the archaeological site,
where the girls they're trying to explain the situation, and the horrible guy who, what's his name? I'm thinking Scapelli doesn't believe it, thinks it's a publicity stunt. And then he doesn't think so. And then when he gets zapped to a monkey,
but Koopa had this evolution gun set for de-evolution. He points at it somewhere. Mario misses him and hits Scapelli. He turns into a chimpanzee. What a cute monkey.
Yeah, so funny watching them. Anyway, I did like the expressions.
But just after that, Princess Daisy and Luigi happen to get this little chip out of the meteor.
Yeah.
And King Koopa and Mario and a couple of Goombas go zap back into Dino Hatton again. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course
that was short-lived, wasn't it?
Yeah, then Luigi and Mario, they take the de-evolution guns and zap Mr. Koopa into oblivion.
Well, they did say they hit him first with a zap, and he turned him into half T-Rex. And half human. He was very dangerous. So they zapped him again and turned him into a T-Rex. A bit on the small side, but still. And that was not going too good. So they zapped him again and turned him into ooze. And then he dribbled down on the ground and died.
Yay, and they won. And everyone cheered.
And straight away all the people were rejoicing and painting over his posters and their imagery on the walls, because they were sick of this guy.
And then the King, Daisy's father, he gets he comes to turn back to normal.
to his normal Humo Dino self again.
Yeah, he then remarks, God bless those plumbers.
God bless it. Yeah, very good. Yeah, actually, it's quite funny. That guy there, Lance Hendrickson.
Oh yeah.
Played the king. He got a bit part there. He was a guy out of Pumpkinhead and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, Luigi, Mario, and Daisy, they head back to the meteorite where she reopens the portal so Mario and Luigi can go home. And Luigi wants Daisy to come with them, but unfortunately now she's found her father. She wants to spend time with him and know her people.
Yeah, see, so she is in line to the throne. Hey.
Yeah, so she has to stay.
And help her people. Yeah, lovely.
So, eventually they have a bit of a
3 weeks later.
They have a bit of a romantic moment, and then Luigi and Mario head back to Brooklyn.
Yeah, and then 3 weeks later, they get something on the news. Luigi's watching the news and talk about all the good bits they did, and they're going to refer to it as the Super Mario Brothers. Right. And then Daisy walks through the door a bit tattered and say, I need your help again.
Yeah.
So obviously something's gone wrong in Dino Hatton, and Mario says, okay, not a problem, and straps his plumber's belt on, and off they went. Isn't that nice?
And then we have a post-credits scene way to the end of the credits.
Yeah, it is funny.
Where Spike and Iggy, they're approached by some Chinese businessmen who wish to make a video game about them.
Yeah, but you don't see them. You see the Chinese guys say, "Well, we want to make a game out of you guys, this, that, and the other." And it turns around and you see Iggy and Spike there, and we want to call it
Cousins.
The Super Koopa Cousins. Yeah. And the thing about this movie, this is where it ends, but the thing about this movie was made and drawn up, drafted up, the script, teleplay, as to be a prequel to the Nintendo game.
Yeah.
You see, that's supposed to be before they made the game, not after the game.
I see.
That's why they added that bit in the end. Isn't that funny? No, not really. No.
Yeah.
I just want to add that in.
I did think it was kind of cool and all that stuff.
Look, it's a good movie, but like I said, I don't think it committed the right way to one or the other. If they could have made a kids movie and made it a lot more fun, and made it more funnier. Look, I don't think every story, every film needs a backstory or something on people. We had enough. We know who Mario is. We know who Luigi is. We know who Dinosaur Land Koopa is. Well, we don't need to know too much character development.
I think my least favourite of video game movies is when they did Sonic the Hedgehog one.
Let's talk about this movie.
Because they made a tiny bit of a mistake when they did the CGI effects. It annoyed almost everyone. I mean, I know that years ago we didn't have this problem because audiences didn't find out about this until when it's released.
Sonic the Hedgehog, when I first made the animation for him, looked almost human. He should have been a hedgehog. They had to redo it. Move on.
Yeah, it was a bit disappointed because
talk about this one.
I know, but it was a bit disappointing because they didn't bother to study the character. Instead, they just did something opposite to it.
Well, they went too far the other way. Yeah. But anyway, let's get on to this movie.
Sure thing.
Anyway. After securing rights to the movie from Nintendo, whatever, they had several script drafts and they couldn't get it right. They changed writing teams, everything else, yada yada yada, all the good groovy things you'd expect in a project of this nature with no good reference points. And they finally came up with the last teleplay and someone actually said, one of the guys, they said something like, we come from the Tim Burton School of Filmmaking.
Oh, that
because
makes sense.
Our background is an animation comic book. So we started off basing everything in reality and then tried to have fun and exaggerate as much as possible. And that's what they did. Yeah. So, they stayed true to themselves trying to make it. But there was another bit there, blah, blah, blah. We tried some various avenues that didn't work. That's the scripts and everything. They came up too medieval or somehow wasn't the right thing. I felt the project was taking a wrong turn. I told that before, didn't I? And that's when I began thinking of Max Headroom. You haven't seen Max Headroom?
No.
You get the idea. And they travelled to Rome to meet with the creators, Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel. So they had to get through a lot of creational problems and figure out where it's going and how they want to deliver it and stuff. And they just went on and on. But here's one thing. One of the guys thinks, this guy said, this wasn't Snow White and the Seven Dinosaurs. The dino world was dark. We didn't want to hold back. The film's only been delivered as a prequel to the games with the true story behind. Yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah. So I think they've achieved what they set out to do, but the problem is that they could have done it a tad better insofar as either developing storyline more for a younger audience and making a kids movie, or make it a tad more dark and a bit more serious, and make it a serious movie for adults.
Yeah, it's interesting when it comes to certain studios, whoever you are out there.
Yeah.
When you have a bit of a particular audience you're catering towards,
you gotta really
you
be
know
careful.
who to cater to. Yeah. Where you are in that studio, but when it comes to a studio like this being an independent one, it's hard to know what audience you're trying to preach to,
and that's really hard. And that's where the problem. I think the problem is they didn't commit to the right audience, and that's where they lost out big time.
I think that's pretty much what a lot of people have told me over the years. When some people often say, "Who you're catering this movie to?"
And you got to be very careful. So Sarah just made a movie. Can I mention your movie now?
Yes, you may.
It's called Attack of the Cat People. Okay, it's a short feature, 45 minutes. It is a tribute movie to the horror and sci-fi B movies of the 1950s.
Yes.
Okay, with even so far as to do it in black and white. They copied the filming and lighting and acting styles of that period. They had to dumb it down to make it look like that period. Now, there are people out there who like that genre. We didn't compromise, did we? No. And it came out pretty good. Yeah, tongue-in-cheek sort of stuff, a little bit of humour, wasn't taken seriously. Damn fine film. Now, that had a desired goal, and you didn't deviate from that goal.
True.
You jiggled the script around here and there, did a few things, but you had a focus. And that's where some movies don't seem to get that focus right, and it meanders. And that's, I think this movie here was sitting on the fence, like some movies say, oh, that's good, no, yeah, right there, that'll do. No, they didn't make that commitment, and that's that quantum leap in the movie world has to be made. Where do you want this movie to go? And who do you want to see it? Who's going to pay the bucks to see it? Yeah. And the kids don't, because they don't want to see this because it's too complicated for them, and the adults, it's not adult enough. So
anyway, I do think it's pretty cool. I'm not knocking it, as I have often done in the past, but I do think it's kind of funny, and I do like how Bob pulls it off as Mario, and he
looks the part.
Yeah.
He acts the part. Look, Mario was in the movie was not necessarily to be intended to be an Italian American. But it just worked out that way because Mario.
And the kid who plays Luigi, I don't think Tom Hanks could ever pull it off. No. Because, not knocking Tom Hanks, it's just that I don't think this would have been his style.
No, but these two guys together, they got that Italian-American bit down good, even though I think John Leguizamo is actually South American, I think. So, but they got that Latin feel to it, and it worked. There was magic between these two guys.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
and I did like the Dennis Hopper playing the dictator.
Yeah, and I like Dennis Hopper. He pops up in the odd places. He played in, again, Easy to Ride years ago. Saw him in a Texas. I'm sure the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. One of those movies.
And he was in the sequel to Cast Deadly Spell, The Witch Hunt.
Yeah, he was, and he was in. I can't remember. He played an old hippie in jail. Like, can't remember what it's called. Keith Sutherland was in it. No, I lost my train. But he plays interesting roles. He doesn't just go, I'm going to play a drama. He just plays interesting roles.
Yeah.
So it was a good.
I heard that they might be making another movie. Not another movie, or a sequel or anything like that. I'm just meaning they're going to be probably making another Mario-related movie.
Is it going to be animated or real people?
I don't know. That's a big question. I don't know if it's going to be animated or just going to be live actors playing the roles. I don't know. I can't be sure.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because well, now that we've done the Sonic the Hedgehog, I don't know what direction they might do with this one.
Who knows? Anyway, I won't go too much
again,
here.
like you said, I don't know what direction. I just hope they know what direction they're going to go for this time around, because it's neither a dark Matrix movie. It's more of a it is a kid game after all.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What was I going to say? So I won't go into too much of the technical stuff here. The creature effects, I think I mentioned there. Yeah, that little dinosaur guy. They had still stand-ins, fully mobile ones, whatever, etc. Cost over $500,000 back then, which is almost $1 million now. Just for that one part of the movie, and I think that's where your cost overruns ate into their profits, which was a problem, because if they made it a bit cheaper, they could have the same sort of effect and made some money on it.
Anyway, can we look at the reviews? I would love to see those, especially the nasty ones.
I'm not going to go through all of them because they're inane, some of them. I will do a bit of an intro to this.
Okay.
I've found some notes here. It says, the film was met with generally unfavourable reviews from critics who criticised the confusing narrative. I don't think it was that confusing.
Not really.
Perceived lack of faithfulness to its source material. What, a computer game?
As much as I've
an inconsistent tone.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, in the game, it's not a detailed story.
It's not. It's let's go there. Let's go. These monsters in the way. Let's knock them off. Yeah.
It's mostly Mario jumping over, So those turtles, those mushrooms,
whatever. Yeah.
And gaining a bit of extra power and fights the King Koopa and then rescues a princess.
So I don't understand what we're talking about. But praise the innovative special effects, creative artistic direction, and the performance of its actors. Now, remember, they praised all these good bits and the performance of its actors. Now, Mario creator, it's a Japanese name, I can't say it, felt the film tried too hard to replicate the games instead of being a good film. See what I mean? So they didn't get the focus right. It could have made a good film made on the game, but made a real film instead of trying to emulate the game. Anyway, despite the poor reception, the film gained cult following in the later years, it has been recently regarded as a classic. A cult classic, so it's probably made a lot of money after the fact.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that while it wasn't appreciated back then, but now it's become a well-liked movie.
Yeah, and cult classics do make money in the end. It's like, take Woodstock. Now, I love Woodstock. Woodstock was a financial disaster. When back in 1968, 69, when they ran the concert, the documentary actually made some money. The music albums, they put out made some money, but the guys who initially put the concert together lost a lot of money at the time, but probably recouped some along the way with all the film rights and music rights and everything else over the years. I like to think so, yeah. Anyway, now, Rotten Tomatoes, here we go. An approval rating of 28%. 28%. It says, despite flashy sets and special effects, the Super Mario Brothers is too light on story and substance to be anything more than a novelty. You see what I mean? From an adult's perspective, you see?
Well, we've talked about how the adults. Remember when we talked about a review? I mean, not a review. I mean, when they did an audience test, some of the adults didn't understand the movie, but when the kids viewed it, they liked it.
Yeah, it's like SpongeBob Square. I keep going SpongeBob. I mean, I'm just trying a mentality level. Little kids would like SpongeBob SquarePants. I would sit down there and cringe and groan watching it because I don't like that sort of rubbish. I'm not that age. I'm 67. I would rather see something designed for an adult audience, and this is where the problem is. I don't think this measures up. Now, Metacritic, it gets 35 out of 100. Generally unfavourable reviews, doesn't say what they said. Michael Wilmington of Los Angeles Times said, "It's a movie split in two.
What do you mean by that?
Wildly accomplished on one level." And I say, wildly, and wildly deficient on another. And I think it gets back to every set design and everything. Special effects were great. Whoever something was lacking. He gave the film high marks for the effects and the sheer density, etc., of the production design, but ultimately provided the low final score for poor writing. The storyline was not defined adult or child. Now,
so good reviews?
I'm looking at Jeanette Maslin of the New York Times also commented on the film's visual effects and suggested Bob Hoskins could handle any role with grace and good humour, but concluded it doesn't have to have the jaunty hop and zap spirit of Nintendo video game from which it takes its inspiration.
Oh, brother.
You see?
It's mostly...
this person is saying it's not like the game, it's lacking something, and the guys tried to make it more like the game, and the guy from Nintendo said they tried to make it like the game instead of a real movie. That's what I'm saying. They didn't get... They missed the focal point on the design of the movie and the target audience. Yeah, and I've got to agree with some of these.
Yeah.
Okay, Hal Hinson from the Washington Post likewise praised the film for its performances and creature effects and proclaimed, in short, it's a blast. He liked it.
Wow. At least there's one good review about this.
No. Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune and Roger Ebert from Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 2 thumbs down on the television program. Siskel and Ebert at the movie, citing total inconsistency and lack of narrative. Storytelling. And the film was on their list of one of the worst items of 1993. Wait a minute. Stephen Hunter of the Baltimore Sun thought Yoshi, the little dinosaur we talked about earlier, had more personality than all the human actors put together. I thought that was cute. I liked that little dinosaur. He was cute.
Yeah, he was cute.
Now, here we go. Hal Hinson of the Washington Post declared the Goombas the best movie heavies since the Flying Monkeys in The Wizard of Oz. No, so,
Come here, my little pretty, and your little dog, too.
Yeah, whatever.
Bye, my pitties. Bye. Whatever that means.
Now here, here's something. Super Mario Brothers was one of the 4 Disney-related films under consideration for the Best Visual Effects Award at the 66th Academy Awards, though the Academy ultimately nominated Nightmare Before Christmas.
Thumbs up for Tim Burton.
That is really good. Yeah, we like that sort of stuff. Now, availability, guys. Now, if you have watched it, it could be worth watching again.
Just don't do it with a critic eye.
Don't do the critical. I mean, I think it sits on the fence. They didn't aim at the right audience. They aimed at fence sitting a bit on this one. They didn't aim for the kids properly, didn't aim for the adults properly, and that's one of the lacking things. That probably shows up in the storyline. Anyway, plenty available on eBay and plenty available on Amazon. And it could be in some streaming services. Who knows? I don't go too far into this.
I often think it's worth a watch because without having to be without reviewing it, say, guys, it's very enjoyable when you
It's a good, fun movie. It could have been a tad better. I can only give it about 8.5 because, I think the storyline itself and the lack of commitment to one market or the next, that it shows a bit. But it's still, the special effects, to me, I love special effects and set design. More so than in these sort of movies. And I've got to say that the whole thing of set designs and everything else, special effects, sets, whatever,
I thought
everything worked good. It's just that the storyline let it down. So,
I thought the storyline was pretty good. I mean, the fact that they were chasing after a girl who turned out to be a princess,
but
and all
the storyline didn't commit to a child audience or an adult audience. That's what I'm talking about. The storyline was non-committal. It has to go, I want to entice Sarah to watch my movie.
I did.
How do I... No. Okay, Sally down the road, who might be a 30-plus something person, I want that genre. How do I get that person to watch the movie? Okay? And they did. I don't think they assessed that when they were doing the drafts of the scripts. They just, hey, this looks really good. It's fine. It's fun. It works. But they didn't. I don't think they got the target right.
Okay, so I'm going to rate this sort of 8.5 out of 10.
Same as me.
I mean, mostly because I do enjoy the story. I like the fact that it deals with. They start off just like ordinary plumbers. We're out of business, broke, yada yada, and then they go into adventure, and then by the end they gain respect and
heroes
and became heroes and all that stuff.
And having dinner.
And then they're on to their next adventure, which is really what the games are mostly about.
Well, this is supposed to be before the games, where they got ideas from their stories and adventures, battling the Dino guys and everything. So, this is like a prequel to the Nintendo games. Interesting.
Yeah, I do find it enjoyable. I mean, I watched it as a kid, and I found it really inspiring to watch.
That's good. Look, it's a good, fun movie. Could have been a tad better. That's what I'm trying to say, and you're saying the same thing. And look, it's like remember when you were a kid, you used to watch Milo and Otis?
Yes.
For you people, younger guys out there, it was a movie about a dog and a cat.
Woof.
Shush. All narration and voices were done by Dudley Moore. It was a good, wholesome, good kid type movie. Yes, as an adult, you can sit through it probably once or twice without having your brain going numb. It was not a bad movie. I watched it a million times because my kids wanted to watch it, and I got sick of watching the bloody thing. However, it was targeted for children. Okay, that wasn't an adult movie.
Anyway, moving on. So, I do find this movie really worth watching, and as I said before, guys, if you're a viewer or just want to watch something that's in the 90s, just watch this, but without a critique eye.
Yeah, look, just sit down there, have a cup of coffee or two.
And forget the old bad reviews, if you will.
Look at it for what it's worth. The special effects and set design's not bad. Yeah, that's also Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. That guy. They really bring life to the roles.
Yeah, just guys, think about the alternative. What if
don't knock Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito did this, or Tom Hanks do these roles. Think about it, guys.
Or would you prefer
Bob over Danny DeVito, or would you prefer?
To me, they're very similar guys in some ways, but I would. Well, I would say Bob Hoskins lends his talent to the stranger roles. Like he did Mr. Smee in Hook. Okay. He's done this, which is he's doing a character representation. He did a detective in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is a non-serious type role. Yeah. So he does these weird, strange, just off-center roles, and he handles them very, very well.
I just don't think Danny DeVito would have pulled it off. And the same I could say for Tom Hanks and Arnold Schwarzenegger as the lead.
Well, I like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies as an action hero. I don't mind him in Junior and Jingle All the Way and stuff.
And I don't mind if he becomes a bad guy if it ever comes up. But I just don't think this was his area.
I don't think it would have worked. Of course, there's I think I think Dennis Hopper played a really good nasty guy.
It needed a comedy relief type bad guy.
That's probably
not comedy relief, just someone funny to play the role.
See, Dennis Hopper's got that sort of what's the word? He plays with a little bit of cynicism and stuff.
Cynicism, that's the word.
He does something in him.
A sinister bad guy, but at the same time...
Cynicism.
Type bad guy that doesn't have the... make him look like a bulky...
he's a bad guy, but in some ways he's sort of... He's nice. He's a nice guy in some ways, but he's really mainly a bad guy. Yeah. It's not like the guy in Tank Girl.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Matthew.
No, the nasty guy.
That's what I mean. I'm talking about Matthew. What's his name? Matthew. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, there's a guy with white hair.
I know who you're talking about, Dad. I know for a fact that he played not too bad role.
Yeah, but in some parts of the movie, he comes over as a nice guy, a businessman, but he had a nasty side.
Yeah,
he's a megalomaniac and that sort of stuff.
Even the most well-known actors cannot always 100% play the most baddie guys.
You got to walk that fine line between good and bad in some roles here. Some guys do. I'm the good bad guy, the bad good guy, and whatever.
It's just like what
you get the mix. It's really good.
It's just like when they were trying to cast. I remember a movie we one time reviewed where they were considering Will Smith for the role, and I thought, no.
What movie was that one? That was
I just
wasn't I Living Dead remake, was it?
No.
No, something else was it?
Will Smith
I can't remember.
Then.
He would have been younger.
Yeah, too young.
He wasn't that young.
Okay, maybe not too young, but
that was on the remake.
This
I'm
was
talking
back
about.
in the 90s.
Yeah, he wasn't that young.
He would not have been old enough.
Well, when did Independence Day come out?
A few years later.
He played a part in that one.
Yeah, but anyway, he would not suit it anyway.
Okay, right.
Some other movie, I think it was some other movie I was thinking of where they were casting whoever's doing the role, and for some reason, I guess it didn't suit him when I think about it. I mean, when you get the wrong actors, you get the wrong results.
You got to pick. You got to get the mix right, and you get a good actor, a good director, a good storyline. You're going to have a good movie, but if some parts missing out of the equation, you're going to lose something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes that the people back then knew who they were looking for when you think about it.
If I was going to make a seriously deranged slasher movie today, the first thing I'd look at, who's going to be the protagonist? Are we going to get somebody like a Michael Myers or a Jason Voorhees? Or somebody who looks like a normal guy walking around and no mask, but everything is, all the naughty stuff is happening behind the scenes, off screen, until later on in the movie, then you find out this guy is actually killing his friends off. That sort of stuff. But you get an ugly guy or average looking guy or whatever behind the mask. But when you have to play a lead role and you're going to blend in with everybody else, he's got to be a good-looking guy who's going to be have a nice personality and working with his friends and being quite lovable, but he's got a dark side. And like the guy in Dale and Tucker versus Evil, the head guy, head teenager guy.
Yeah.
He seemed like a really nice guy in the beginning, a bit up himself, but he was a mental case in the end.
Sometimes it works again. Works against the grain, because I don't mind if the guy is not a cutesy guy.
It doesn't have to be a Ken or a Barbie type.
Yeah,
no, but
I like the
you've got to blend in though, working the fine line.
I like the dark, but someone you never suspect type role. I mean, I like the fact that it doesn't have to be a well-known actor. Like, you don't have to cast Tom Cruise to play the role.
Well, that's scary. Sorry, Tom.
But just someone that can pull off the role and still gives you, the audience, the right set of impact.
You're going to get your thrills, and the shudders and stuff, and your jump scares and all that sort of good stuff.
So I think that's about it for us tonight, because I don't want to end up persecuting this movie.
What? Persecuting it?
Persecuting this movie.
Like
some people have persecuted it
that
to
one,
death because
some people don't like it. Yeah, they rubbish it. Yeah. it's not a rubbish. I mean, it's not a movie you should rubbish, but yeah. Just because it's not on top of the pile doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
Yeah,
they got a couple of things wrong, but still good.
I often think the reason why it wasn't on top, apart from what you mentioned, Mike, I also think that there was a lot of awesome movies coming out during that period. Like Jurassic Park was one of them. That was really awesome.
Yeah, a lot of other things were hitting the theaters at that point in time, and the main movies that everyone likes, they get the receipts, and the other ones are going to get put aside.
When it came out, the Jurassic Park and Super Mario Bros. Came out at the same time. I wanted to go to see Jurassic Park,
real dinosaurs.
Yeah, and I guess seeing if we only see one dinosaur in this movie, dealing with Yoshi, and he's cute.
I want one.
But I guess this Jurassic Park wins out.
I mean, all the special effects and animatronic stuff in Jurassic Park, I mean, for its time was earth-shattering, earth-breaking, whatever you want to call it. It was fantastic, It made you believe dinosaurs really existed. I think that was the part of the advertising, wasn't it?
True.
And especially when T-Rex was chasing that Slister guy and ate him in the toilet.
Yeah, that was
best part of the movie. He deserved that. Left those kitties in the car by themselves.
Yeah.
You don't leave kids in the car, even if it's raining, whatever.
I liked it when he just when Jeff says, "When you gotta go, you gotta go."
Some really good camp lines, really funny.
Way to go, Jeff!
Tongue-in-cheek stuff.
Very cool. Very camp.
I think it was really good, but that was really good animatronics and really believable stuff. You go, crikey, they look real.
Yeah, one day we'll do a review on the original Jurassic Park movies.
We might do that,
maybe not.
Not
now,
today.
Anyway, that's about it for us
tonight.
Really good.
Thanks I enjoyed the movie,
liking this review.
It's a little bit lacking, but it's still a good watch.
Don't knock it until you watch it.
Yeah, don't knock it until you try it. I mean, some people, again, if you like playing computer games, you might like it because it's how they interpreted the games.
Again, as I said in the past, guys, do not take it as religion and believe that it's following the game or not following the game.
No, because I think they tried to follow the games in some way, and then it didn't work.
The game, as far as I'm concerned, begins with a fat Super Mario brother, Mario, and he jumps on these weird things. He climbs up these weird ladders, and he then kills the dragon creature, and he saves the princess. The end.
Yeah, and that's what they tried to base the movie on, which they did follow a bit, but again, as a real movie, they could have expanded a tad and a few things. Whatever.
Anyway, guys, that's about it for us tonight. So thanks for listening to our latest podcast. Okay, guys?
Enjoy.
Okay, and this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Marl.
Saying...
Bye.
Game over. Bye now.
Bye.